YouTube Ozick going the Goat House is back after an ass beating on Thursday Night Football here in Week 11. I got my takeaways. Don't have a lot of takeaways, though, because it was just one of those types of games. Big win for the Patriots. We're going to break it down. My thoughts, maybe what we're thinking about for the Falcons in the future, what's going wrong right now. We'll talk about it. Follow our Twitter. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on right here. Be much appreciated. Full NFL coverage. That's not our Twitter. There it is. Khalil Mack done for the year. Unfortunate news. Was not expecting that. Was expecting him to return soon. So we got you updated with news, good or bad, on our Twitter. 25-0. Patriots dominate the Falcons. And I felt pretty good. We all felt pretty good about the Patriots going into this game, but it's been so weird this year that it would have made sense just based on everything that's happened. Because it made no sense, it would make sense that the Falcons would have won this game. That's just how this year has gone, but this actually makes sense. Patriots been hot, been dominant. Falcons fresh off a 40-point loss. They're missing some key players, Patterson, Ridley. Yeah, Patriots defense matches up very well with that Falcons offense. The system, Matt Ryan, the offensive line, and it's exactly what happened in this game. Let's talk about the Patriots first. Yeah, the defense was absolutely dominant. They were getting pressure on pretty much every play. Matthew Judon, guy's been insane, been everywhere. Barmore was either getting held by one guy or getting double teamed, so he's been really stepping it up, and teams noticing that, obviously. So the rookie's really coming along. He's going to be special. Godshaw was even getting going. Van Noy was everywhere. It's everybody. J.C. Jackson. Kyle Duggar was, I liked him. I liked what I've seen from him I like this guy, man. The last few weeks. That's a guy that's going to fly around a football field and just attack the ball, Huge pass deflection early. Huge one-on-one tackle early. Flying around, a lot of time he's the first guy to hit the ball carrier. That's pretty tough to do with this defense. So I really like what I see from him as well. I mentioned J.C. Jackson. Adrian Phillips has been fantastic, very underrated player this year. I think if I had to pick one spot where they kind of just dominated and won, I mean, they dominated everywhere, but if you made me pick one, just the trenches on both sides of the ball. We know how important that is. They blocked extremely well. We see that with the full healthy, getting Trent Brown back, offensive line looks like opening up giant holes for the running game and then dominating the pass protection. Except for the blitz. There was times where they weren't picking up the blitz. They weren't, the safety blitz, corner blitz. That's something they can work on. But they were bullies in the trenches. And on both sides of the ball, we talk about the defense, having the double team guys, and just constantly getting pressure. And then there's a couple solid runs for the Falcons, but in important times, just kind of just filling lanes and just not allowing, the runner to have anywhere to go. Run game was dominant. It's just such a pain in the ass to deal with for other teams because you can know it's coming. It's still good because they got the bullies up front in the offensive line. And then you got the bullies at the running back position with Damian Harris or Ramondre Stevenson, and Bolden's pretty solid as well. But Stevenson and Harris looks like a good 1-2 punch there. Both very physical, can create on their own as well. So that run game's very good, and it can control a game. Mac Jones had an interception. Yeah, he tried to force one downfield. Other than that, I thought he played great. Good getting the ball out when he's under pressure. Very accurate in interesting situations. Off his back foot. But he's, a lot of those young guys, they want to throw off their back foot when it's unnecessary. Mac Jones just does it all right. When he's in an uncomfortable situation, he doesn't put himself there. The defense puts him there, but he's able to make plays when he's in that uncomfortable position, situation. He has to throw off his back foot, has to throw in a hurry. And credit to the play designs. This is the complete opposite. Patriots, Falcons, in terms of the play designs. Matt Ryan gets blitzed. He knows he has to get the ball out quick, and he does. He does an on-time ball, accurate ball, but there's an option for that scenario. They're not all long developing routes. There is an option for that scenario, and it's smart and it's good. And the Falcons, and that's what I'm mainly going to rip them here for. They know Matt Ryan's going to be under pressure. That's how it has been this year. The offensive line struggling. You're going against the Patriots, team that's one of the best defense in football right now. They get pressure in many different ways, and they got some weird plays. Maybe the receivers are messing up. We saw Gage and Sharp, I want to say. run into each other on one play, and then both were wide open. But I don't know. That's probably something on the receivers, but there's no like bailout option or easy option if you need it. There's teams like that with the Falcons, they don't have that option, and there's teams that just have the check down and the quarterback just immediately goes to the check down. And then there's teams like the Patriots, like with Mac Jones, where there's option. It's kind of in between there, and it's at the sticks or near the sticks. So that's impressive. That's a good part of the Patriots. Got to finish drives though. They get down the field so easy, and they kind of struggle a little bit in the red zone or as they're getting close to the red zone. We saw that against the Chargers too, mainly in the red zone, well inside the red zone in that game. They dominated the Chargers, but the score wasn't showing it because the Patriots couldn't finish those drives. There's drives that feel like 7, they end up in 3. You see Mac Jones kind of frustrated with that, which is a good thing. He wants to be great. I like that about him. But if they can finish drives, when they play real good teams, because the Patriots feel like a real good team. They feel like a playoff team. When you play the tough teams, in the playoffs, game after game after game, you want to execute those, obviously, to keep on going, keep winning those games. But very much impressed with the Patriots. That's a tough defense to deal with. It's a tough running game to deal with. It's tough to deal with them in the trenches. You always talk about, you don't have to have the best quarterback in football. If you dominate the trenches on both sides of the ball, that's you're set, and the Patriots do that, In terms of Falcons, A.J. Terrell's been fantastic in his second year, been locked down, and now he gets a pick under his belt. That was a good one, too. Jumped that route and somebody needed to do something for the Falcons. He did something, wasn't enough, but it's not his fault. I thought the blitz looked good. Not picking up the blitz on offense, but more on defense. I thought the random blitz calls from safeties coming in, I thought those were pretty effective. There was times where Mac Jones would deliver a pretty good ball when he got hit, but I think they're still pretty effective. But yeah, play designs and calls, not really agreeing with them. They had a third and 1, and that was like the only time they were running the ball okay. Allison was running pretty well, and they kind of go away from that. They have Matt Ryan kind of drop pretty far back. It's a bad sack he takes, but I don't really like the design of the play and designs with the long developing routes. Give him a bailout option. Doesn't have to be a check down necessarily. I guess Cordero's kind of that guy, in all those situations. See how important he is. So missing Patterson's, and Ridley, pretty damn tough there. They just couldn't get much going. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the designs. I'm not a fan of the calls. Arthur Smith, he's kind of running, I was saying it during the game, he's kind of running that Ryan Tannehill offense for Matt Ryan, and it doesn't really work. And you definitely can argue that Matt Ryan's better than Ryan Tannehill, obviously. But, at times he's not. But you're running this offense where it's kind of get the ball and it's either a big far drop back where he's either rolling out or it's kind of just a roll out and throw right away. And there was one, he got sacked on that one time, and at least one time. And it's, Matt Ryan can still throw. You see the touch pass, but this offense, I don't think is really built for him. There's times where it's just kind of simple drop back and throw. And that, that makes Matt Ryan, that's a Matt Ryan offense, but then the offensive line just isn't protecting him. But, so they may need another quarterback. Offensive line's atrocious. Terrible blocks, missing picking up blitzes. Just kind of a mess. So it kind of goes back to the coaching as well. And then could the rebuild be incoming? Because in a game like this, it just doesn't feel like they have the talent. But again, they're missing Patterson. They're missing Ridley, but still, they signed Patterson to a 1-year deal. They're going to have to bring him back. You might need another receiver here. I don't really know what to do with the offensive line because it's not supposed to be this bad. They have a couple misses probably in there with McGarry, and Lindstrom could be good, but it's just no one's really playing well right now. So do they rebuild or retool the offensive line? Matthew's a bright spot, but, he's not as good as he once was. And where is he at in age? Do we want to get the young guys going together? It's a little bit of a mess here. Do we want to find a quarterback of the future? Because Matt Ryan can still play, but, he's declining, I guess, and he doesn't really fit this style of offense. So do we need to find a quarterback? If you look at defense, they need to get more pressure. They can get it by the blitz. They probably can, Dean Pease is typically heavy blitz defense. So you probably want a guy to fit that. The blitz game a little better, but they can live with what they got there. But in terms of just pressure off the edge, they need to get better. And then secondary, you definitely want to build around A.J. Terrell because you need more help back there. So it does feel like the Falcons need to go and rebuild, but it's tricky because they still got, Matt Ryan can still be great. You got Ridley who can be a star player. You got Pitts who can be a star player. Patterson is their star player. Grady Jarrett, A.J. Terrell, The linebacker duo is great. So it's weird. You usually don't like want to go in a rebuild mode when you have guys that are great players and maybe could be star players, you know? So it's a strange situation. You almost rather it's good to have the borderline star players, but you almost rather kind of know what your future is, you know? Do we just go and rebuild, or what are we doing here? It's kind of, they're probably going to just try to retool it, which works for a lot of teams, but it's so tough to do because you kind of pass up on taking quarterbacks of the future when doing that, things of the future when doing it, retool, patch up the spots that need to be built around Matt Ryan, and then you kind of miss out on near future things. So it is a very tricky situation on what they're in. I don't think their play designs and calls need to be better, but I don't know if their system actually fits what they got. I think they're kind of, it almost feels like they're kind of just dealing with what was left over for them, but it's weird. It's a weird situation, but yeah, last two. I mean, they beat the Saints 3 weeks ago, and that was impressive, you know. But losing by 40 last week and losing 25-0 this week, it's not looking good for the Falcons. A couple weeks ago, we thought, you know, based on how the NFC is going in that 6-7 seed spot, Falcons got a shot. Let's watch out for the Falcons here. You know, not anymore. It doesn't really feel like that. It is kind of wide open still, but yeah, another dominant win for the Patriots. They get a kind of a mini bye. It's not a bye, but you get longer break for the Titans, who I think the Patriots can handle. The Patriots definitely can handle. So looking forward to that. Falcons got to figure something out, but they just may not have the talent. They may not have the personnel for what they're trying to run on both sides of the ball at the same time. So it's interesting. It's definitely an interesting team moving forward. Can't wait to see what they do. That's going to wrap it up for the recap of Thursday Night Football here in Week 11. Can't wait for the Sunday games. We'll have you covered live on Twitter with those. We have full NFL coverage here on the channel. Anything you can think of for the NFL, we got you always. So join us. But thanks for watching this video. That's going to do it. Goodbye.